I thought you smiled when you saw me, that fleeting moment when our eyes met across the room. My heart leaped at the sight, hopeful that maybe, just maybe, you still felt something. It was the kind of smile I once knew so well. The one that carried warmth. The one that made my world brighter. But was it real, or was it just my heart playing tricks on me? I stood there, frozen in time, grasping onto that 1 second, dissecting every movement, searching for meaning where there might be none. I wanted to believe that behind that smile, there was a whisper of the past, a silent acknowledgement of everything we once were. But as the moment faded, so did my certainty. Maybe it was just a polite gesture, a reflex born out of habit rather than emotion. Yet, even if it was nothing, even if it meant less than I hoped, it was enough for me. Because in that instant I could pretend that nothing had changed, that we were still something, still a possibility. I thought you smiled because you remember. But memories are deceiving and hearts can be cruel. Maybe I saw what I wanted to see. Maybe I read into something that wasn't there at all. And yet, I cannot help but wonder, if I had smiled first, would you have lingered longer? Would there have been more than just a passing glance, more than just a flicker of something that once felt like home? I do not know the answers, and perhaps I never will. But even if your smile was nothing more than a shadow of a past I cannot forget, I will hold on to it. Because sometimes, even a ghost of happiness is better than emptiness. I thought you smiled the way you used to. The way that once felt like sunlight breaking through the storm. The way that once made my heart race in ways words could never describe. It was the kind of smile that spoke volumes without a single word. The kind that reassured me, comforted me, reminded me that I was seen, that I was loved. But now I cannot tell if I imagined it, if my heart clung to something that I thought you smiled, and for that 1 second, I let myself believe that everything was okay, that maybe we were not as lost as I feared. It was a moment of solace in the chaos, a glimpse of something that once felt like home. But love is not measured in smiles, not defined by fleeting moments that leave more doubt than certainty. And yet, here I am, dissecting a single glance, a single gesture, searching for meaning where there may be none. My heart refuses to let go, refuses to accept that what we had is nothing more than a memory. It clings to the possibility that love, even in its quietest form, still exists between us. But whether that smile was real or imagined, whether it was meant for me or merely a passing kindness, I will hold on to it. Because at the end of the day, even the smallest trace of you is enough to keep my heart beating, enough to remind me that love, in any form, always worth remembering. Me thought you smiled when you looked at me, when your eyes met mine, and my heart clung to that moment, to the belief that your smile was meant for me, that it held something deeper than a simple gesture. But perhaps I was mistaken. Perhaps the warmth I felt was nothing more than my own longing, my own desperate hope that somewhere, beneath the surface of what we were, there was still a place where we belonged. I thought you smiled because you saw me, because you felt the same pull, the same unspoken connection. But now I wonder if it was merely a shadow of what I wanted it to be, an illusion crafted by a heart that refuses to forget, refuses to let go, refuses to stop loving you. I thought you smiled when you heard my name, as if it still held meaning, as if it still carried the echoes of all the laughter and whispered secrets we once shared. My heart leaped at the sight, grasping onto the possibility that perhaps you still remembered, that perhaps the past was not entirely lost to time. But was that smile real, or was it just the remnants of a kindness tea? Did it carry the warmth of familiarity, or was it simply a reflex, a politeness extended without thought? I do not know anymore. I used to believe I could read you, that I could see through every mask you wore, past every carefully constructed wall. But now, as I stand here watching, I am no longer sure. I thought you smiled, and for a brief moment my heart believed in that tiny, fragile hope. But doubt lingers, whispering that maybe, just maybe, I only saw what I wanted to see. I thought you smiled the way you used to, the way that once felt like the sun breaking through the clouds, like the first breath of spring after a long winter. I thought that for a second, the weight of the years between us disappeared, and we were just two people standing there, stripped of time and distance, bound only by what we once were. But time is cruel, and so is memory, twisting what once was into something uncertain, something fragile, did. Your lips truly curve with that familiar warmth. But even if that smile was nothing more than a polite gesture, even if it held no meaning at all, I will still cherish it. Because for one fleeting second, I could pretend that nothing had changed, that we were still us. I thought you smiled because you missed me too, because somewhere beneath the surface of time and distance, there was still a thread connecting us, still an echo of the love that once filled every corner of our world. I thought that maybe, just maybe, your heart still recognized mine, still beat in rhythm with the memories we created together. But as quickly as that hope flickered to life, it dimmed, swallowed by the reality that things are different now. The world has moved forward, and perhaps you have too. Maybe that smile was not a bridge back to what we once had, but simply a moment of kindness, a fleeting expression with no deeper meaning. And yet, even knowing this, I cannot help but hold on to it, cannot help but let it linger in the quiet corners of my heart. Because even if it was just a smile, even if it meant nothing at all, it was enough to remind me of everything we once were, of everything I still wish we could be. I thought you smiled, and for that one moment my heart forgot the pain, forgot the longing, forgot the weight of all the unsaid words and unanswered questions. It was as if time had folded in on itself, bringing me back to the days when your laughter was the soundtrack to my happiness, when your smile was my safe place, my home. I let myself believe, just for a second, that nothing had changed, that love could still exist in the spaces between us. But love is not a ghost, not something that lingers simply because we wish it to. It is either alive or it is gone, and I do not know which truth belongs to us anymore. So I will hold on to that smile, whether it was real or imagined, whether it was meant for me or simply a courtesy. Because at the end of the day, even the smallest reminder of you is enough to keep my heart beating, enough to keep me believing in what once was and what could have been.
मेरी बिल्ली मेरे नाल कद गुस्से है चल मेरे वल कर जरा मुनी चल मेरे वल कर जरा मुनी